By the time Vivian arrived, Brian and the others gathered in her kitchen with the detective that arrested him. Madison couldn't quite catch the rapid communication that went on between the men. They seemed to have reached an understanding with the officer, who seemed to know everything about them. He stuck by Brian's side like a newfound best friend. It would have been cute if Madison hadn't been worried about her decision to have the bindings she'd had since birth removed. Would the decision alter her life in a positive or a negative way? Would she be able to save Kennedy? Abigail and Tiffany flanked her sides, and their group had split in two, the men and the women. Madison knew they'd have to work together to reach any outcome which saved Kennedy's life.
Why does your mother look like she's about to burst into tears?
Abigail asked.
I already told you, because Maddie has decided to embrace her inner angel demon. Pay attention.
Tiffany answered. Madison had no idea how Tiffany picked up on information not yet released, but she didn't mind the other woman answering for her. It's time I found out who or what I truly am. Madison went to her mother's side, with her two female companions close behind. Vivian's eyes found Uriel and they connected across the kitchen. He nodded and broke away from his circle of men. There's something we must do. Brian, I would appreciate if you came with me. Brian looked confused for a moment but followed behind Uriel. To Madison's dismay, so did Michael, Raphael, Gabriel, and the detective. Well, it's best everyone found out at the same time whether she went from normal to an abomination. She prayed to God with all her might that she didn't turn into a halfling. They were pathetic in their appearance, and it made Madison shudder to think she could look like that beneath her human facade. They followed Vivian down into the basement, past the new makeshift gym. Vivian fished a piece of white chalk-like substance from her handbag and drew a door on the wall. She said something in a language Madison didn't understand, and the door broke away from the rest of the wall and opened. She spoke again, and torches aligned the wall and lit the way.
Madison, you'll walk with me.
Madison went to join her mother, and they went through the wall and into the dimly lit corridor. Her nerves began to fray as her heart rate increased. Was this the right decision? Did she have to do this? Did she want to do this? It wasn't like her to second-guess her decisions, but she had to admit the fear of the unknown presented a stark contrast to her everyday life. They walked until they reached a room at the end of the hall. The room appeared to be split in two. On one side, bright colors and images of ancient angels decorated the walls. On the other, flames and demons. In the center of the room sat a bassinet.
This is where we bound you, right after you were born. We were so very afraid they would hunt you down. There has never been a child who didn't turn into a halfling from two species. I want you to understand that after this, there is no going back. Everyone will be alerted to your presence the moment you step into your birthright.
Vivian spoke in a low tone, unable to mask the pain of her words. She could taste her mother's fear, and it mingled with her own. The time has come for me to stand on my own. I can't do that without this. Now I know, and I can't pretend everything is as it was. Vivian nodded and pulled the bassinet out of the center of the room. She placed a chair that had been propped up against the wall. Her mother motioned for her to sit in it, and she did.
I will start.
Uriel said.
Forgive me, daughter, for what I've done and what I'm about to do. I only ever acted with your best intentions.
He stood over her and pulled a flaming sword from behind him. Brian took a step forward, but Michael placed his hand on his shoulder. The others strained to watch as they filled in the wall closest to the door. Madison found her father's eyes and knew whatever he had to do to unbind her abilities was something he desperately wanted to protect her from. With the sword raised high above her, Madison's pulse jumped and her stomach tightened. She screamed as the sword descended upon her. Her hands rose up to protect her, but they did nothing against the massive archaic weapon plunged into her midsection. The pain proved more than she could bear as heat ripped through her body. It overwhelmed her heightened senses, and she screamed anew. She looked down at her stomach and noticed the lack of blood. The sword laid embedded into her, but other the extreme heat. She realized the pain wasn't so much from a sword being driven through her, but because of the light flooding through her veins. What's happening to me? She gasped as the light lifted her from the chair and suspended her midair. Uriel slid the sword away from her body and knelt before her.
The heavenly bindings that kept you human have been removed.
The gruff voice whispering those words knew real pain. Madison took a few deep breaths and the pressure inside her lessened. Her back began to itch. It started as a minor annoyance and then grew to a raging inferno between her shoulder blades. Oh God, it itches. She tried to reach the spot on her back but could not. Then a weird popping sound filled her ears and the pain came back.
Wings!
Tiffany gasped. Madison looked over her shoulder at her back. To her utter amazement, two billowing white angel wings formed on either side of her shoulder blades. They were glorious to behold and took her breath away. She forgot the pain as she tried to move them after they fully formed. "I have wings," she whispered.
Your hair is white, like super white too.
Abigail added. Madison reached out to grab a strand of her hair and pulled it toward her face. Like the first lush snowfall, her hair went from blonde to white. Her eyes scanned the room until she found Brian, and he smiled at her. In his smile, she found the support she needed to continue. Once her transition completed, she drifted back down to the chair. "She's beautiful. Look at my darling, an angel. I want wings." The words of those around her drifted through her mind, and it dawned on Madison they were not whispers but thoughts unsaid. She had the ability to read their minds. The detective's expression couldn't be read, but he knelt and made the signs of a cross. His trembling fingers dropped the rosary he held. Madison had an overwhelming urge to retrieve it for him. She reached out even though she stood a good 10 feet away. The rosary moved with her hand. She gasped as she lifted it without touching it.
Whoa,
Abigail said,
now that is seriously cool.
"I just moved the cross by thinking about it." Madison exclaimed. No one would have believed her if she ever told the story of how she came to be a mind-reading, white-haired angel with wings who could move objects with her mind, but she couldn't believe how well and strong she felt. All her worries were cast aside as she explored her new abilities.
I pray the gifts you receive from my ancestors are as kind as the ones you receive from your fathers.
Her mother said. A trickle of fear ebbed in on Madison's good mood at those words. The images of the halflings refused to leave her mind. She knew she'd never settle for half, so she had to find out her true potential. She needed to explore her inner demon, as Tiffany had said earlier. "I'm ready," Madison whispered.
Look into my eyes.
Her mother commanded as she knelt in front of Madison. They stared eye to eye while her mother changed into her demon form.
Merciful God in heaven, she's a demon.
The detective exclaimed.
Detective Lambert, I tolerate humans at best. You do well to remember that.
Her mother didn't even blink as she shot down the detective with her words. Her mouth opened and a black mist slowly came out of her mouth. It freaked Madison out to say the least, but then her own jaw fell open and a red mist came forward from her. The mist united with that of her mother S and mingled in the air. Red and black specks of light burned bright as they two colors collided. Her mother took a step back and Madison watched as the potent mixture formed a black cloud above her. It rose like smoke and her eyes followed it. Then without any warning it flew down at her and she could taste it. It went in her mouth and nose and threatened to choke her. She coughed and sneezed as it filled every available opening in her head. Just when she thought she'd die of asphyxiation, the sensation ended. Madison blinked and her nose twitched. She sneezed a few times to clear out any remnants that lingered. Unlike when her father released her inner angel, nothing happened when her mother did it. Or so she thought. Then out of nowhere, time froze. Everyone in the room stood still and a new form took shape in the room. He looked much like her mother did, only much older and male. "Who are you?" she asked the newcomer.
Do not speak unless spoken to. You will find out who I am soon enough. Before you are given the glory of the demons, you must first answer one question.
Madison harbored no fear against the demon that appeared out of nowhere, but knew he would play an important role in the events to come. Remembering his first statement, she waited for him to ask his question instead of prompting him as she wanted to do.
Wise child, Vivian has done well by you. If you are given the powers of your mother's people, what will you do with them?
There were many answers on the top of her tongue, most involving Kennedy, but she knew her resolve went well beyond her cousin. "I will destroy those that hunt the innocent."
Ah, the demons.
He asked. "No, I have no qualms with the natural residents of hell. I wish to eradicate those who have taken power which was not their own, and hunt mankind as if they were nothing but playthings and pastimes." Madison had no idea where her words were coming from. They came from a place deep within her, but it hadn't been at all what she wanted to say.
You have the heart of warrior. I feel your confusion, so I will grant you a boon. You will receive your birthright, but at a cost.
She waited for him to continue.
Are you prepared to pay any cost for the glory you could become?
He asked. "No." Madison said, though she wanted to say yes, she knew there were some prices she would rather die than pay. She dreamed them many nights.
You have the mind of an ancient. It will serve you well. Here is the cost you must pay. You must murder a soul marked by God by midnight tonight. That gives you 4 hours to learn, stalk, and kill your first enemy. Do you accept?
Madison knew the demon she had in mind. Mastima's grotesque face flitted through her mind and the decision was made. I accept.
Should you fail, you will be deemed unworthy and stripped of all supernatural powers granted from both heaven and hell. Do you still accept?
I will not fail.
You have the courage of a god. We will meet again very soon.
Then just as he appeared, he disappeared. Madison's senses heightened and her nails grew. She watched in amazement as they extended beyond her fingertips and formed a pointed tip. Her heart sped up, but not out of fear, but the faster pace became its natural rhythm. With each breath, she drew in more air. Her muscles strengthened and toned. Though always fit, Madison watched as her arms and legs shaped up in a way the gym had never accomplished. The others in the room had returned to their normal active state.
Her eyes are wild.
Tiffany whispered.
They are almost black, but have the bluest ring I've ever seen.
Abigail responded. Black rivers of ink ran up her arms like snakes that left a trail in their wake. All the visible skin she could see became tattooed with beautiful designs with no rhyme or reason. Her skin turned a golden hue, not the deep red of her mother's, but tan seemed to glow around her. Do they extend to my face? Madison asked. Her mother reached into her handbag in silence. She brought out a compact mirror and held it up to Madison. The first thing she noticed was her ethereal eyes. They looked like black pools with a blue circle. On one side of her face, she looked as she always had, normal except for the white hair and tan skin. On the other side, a black river had decorated the side and gave her a unique look. As odd as it sounded, Madison loved it. She couldn't stop staring at the marking on her face. It formed a wing off the corner of her eye, and it spiraled down to below her ear. Well, I'm going to stand out in a crowd. A nervous laughter came from a few of the angels, but most stood in silence.
It's the marking of the ancients. There are many in hell who would sell their soul to have a marking like yours.
Her mother said, Well, I only get to keep any of this if I slay someone damned by midnight tonight. Silence descended on the room so fast she could have heard a feather ricochet off the ground as it fell. They all looked at her in confusion as she relayed the conversation she had with the elder demon. Her mother spoke first.
Did you agree?
She asked. Of course, I agreed. Madison had no real choice in the matter. He pulled the words right from her soul, and everything she had said had been the absolute truth.
You made a pact with an ancient one. Let's go bag a bad guy.